Hi guys, this is Nat. It's been a while since I've recorded a video. The last one I recorded was about the lessons I learned in 2025, and I never ended up making a video about the lessons I learned in December of 2025. So here I am to give you guys some updates and also just to talk about what's been on my mind lately. I used to play the violin, and I first started playing the violin in 2022. It was because I simply found videos of people playing the violin on YouTube, and I completely fell in love with it. Before then, I guess I didn't really know what a violin was. I remember the day I got my violin and I picked it up, and I was really excited to even touch the violin. And then I started taking classes, and it is a very difficult instrument. And I don't say that like meaning that other instruments aren't difficult. They are, of course. Everything is difficult, right? But the violin, it was like really different from the ukulele, which I had kind of learned by myself, because you just have to learn the chords and try to figure out the coordination to play and sing at the same time and all of that. But the violin, you have to have a specific posture with your body, with your hands, and like the coordination, the stretching with your fingers. It's a whole other level. And as I was improving, it was really nice because I really loved the instrument. But I stopped playing when I got to high school, because I stopped playing because I just couldn't I couldn't manage my time that well. And when I stopped playing the violin, I came up with other stuff to do in my free time. Basically, I started an environmental club at school, and then I started taking singing lessons, which I hadn't taken for years before then. So I'm always finding something to keep myself busy, because that's just like who I am, you know? I'm always looking out for things that are gonna fulfill my life and make me more capable and more able to do the things that matter to me. But lately, I was thinking about the violin and how much I enjoy listening to it and how much I enjoyed playing it, even though it was hard. And today, I just played it again. And of course, I'm not used to playing it anymore, but it wasn't as bad as it was when I first started playing the violin. And I even committed to playing a song publicly in a few months in the violin. So I really have to practice now, because I made a commitment to other people, and I am a girl of my word. Trust me. And the thing is, I remember when I stopped playing the violin, I thought, well, if I stop playing the violin now, I'll use my time to focus on school. And, well, I can just start again later, right? What are 2 years? But then I'm thinking, if I hadn't stopped playing the violin, I would be so much better now. And I don't say that in a way that I regret it, because in some way, I know I couldn't have managed playing the violin and starting the singing lessons and the club, because they were like really different things from one another, and they took different parts of me to grow as I implemented them. What this makes me think about is that sometimes we think that it's too late for us to start doing stuff like, oh, I won't start like writing a book because I'm too old. By the time I finish my book, I'll be 30, I don't know. But like, really, you're gonna be 30 anyways. In case you don't die, you're gonna turn 30 anyways. So why don't you write the book, you know? And I think this applies to everybody. I really have some specific dreams. Like, I really want to learn how to ride a horse and do all those beautiful things that I forgot the name, but people who know how to ride horses do. I really want to work with animals one day, but sometimes the stuff we want to do really are out of our reach in specific moments of our lives, either because we don't have the money, or we don't have the knowledge, or we are not old enough for those things yet. But if we're talking about things that we do have the money for, we are old enough to do, and we have some knowledge to do it, I think we should go for it. Because if we're going to think, oh, I'll be too old by the time I finish it. Oh, people who I know started doing this way earlier in their life, so they're going to be so much better than me when they reach a certain age. that's just really not the way to think about it, because time passes anyway. And the best day to start was yesterday, but the second day to start is today. I think a famous person said this quote. I just can't remember their name. Yeah, basically this is what I've been thinking about lately. The whole, like, start things, you know? We spend so much time thinking about the reasons why we should do some things when really you're gonna grow old anyway. Like, time is gonna pass anyway. So you might as well do the things you wanna do. And of course, if the things you wanna do don't hurt other people's rights, hopefully they don't. Still, I think that everything happens for a reason. As much as I think that I would be a much better violin player if I hadn't stopped playing, I'm glad that I stopped playing so that I could focus on the club, because now I'm able to go back to the violin and run an environmental club and take singing lessons, you know, because before the club, I had this void in my life that I was able to fill with music and the other hobbies I have, but I wasn't able to fill with anything that made me feel like I was having a real impact in the world as a change maker. And the club gave me that. So if for me to get that feeling of I'm actually making an impact in my community as a change maker, for me to have that, if it took stopping the violin for a while, I'm okay with that because it was worth it, you know. I've learned so much from having this club, and it's just something that I really want to help one day more people have. I think it's not really a culture here in Brazil for people to have clubs, like for students to organize their own campaigns and groups. This is not really common here, and I wish it were. And whenever I have the opportunity to help students do that, I want to help them, because I truly believe that students having these spaces to call their own and come up with their own rules and ideas and projects and represent themselves in the real world, it gives us so much power, and we feel like our voices matter, and we feel like we have an impact. And the most powerful thing you can do to someone so they can act on a problem is make them feel powerful. Because if someone feels like nothing they do matter, they won't do it, like, because they think it won't matter. And that's a huge problem in the climate crisis. Most people feel like whatever they do don't matter, and that's why they don't do anything. And if we find a way to give these people power, they will do something, because they don't do nothing because they are bad people. They don't do nothing because sometimes they either don't know what to do or they think whatever they do won't matter. If we're able to change that narrative, so many more people are going to get involved in this cause. And maybe the way to start is through students who have lots of free time, who have the energy, and are involved in this emerging generation. So I think this video is getting a bit too long, and I've talked about all these different topics. As you can see, this is how my mind works. I'm always thinking about all these different things at the same time. So it's really difficult for me to put my thoughts in order, let alone write them down. That's why I guess I prefer making these videos. And I'm not sure if I even want people to watch these videos. I'm not sure. I guess I just owe it to myself, to the girl that started a YouTube channel at 9 years old. I guess I owe her to keep going, because this channel next year is gonna complete 10 years of existence. So I can't stop making videos now because I'm afraid of what people will think. And because I think nobody will watch my videos. Because honestly, when I was 9, nobody watched my videos and I still made them. So why can't I be like that anymore? These days I read a quote that said, growing up is basically about going back to being who you were as a child and loving them, which is a really good quote and kind of what I'm trying to do here. Anyways, I think I've gone way too far. I've talked about lots of things. I hope you've enjoyed this video, and I'll be back soon, hopefully with more updates and reflections. Bye.